joined now by Richard Johnson, Senior Lecturer in U.S. Politics at Queen Mary University of London. Good to see you again. Thanks so much for being here with us. So the House and Senate, both in Republican hands, they've passed competing DHS funding bills and then, basically skipped town for 2 weeks. How do you make sense of what's happening between Speaker Johnson and Senator Thune right now?
Yeah, so if you look at it, the situation, of course, is that in order to pass the funding bill, you need to get about 7 Democratic senators in the Senate, of course, to support any measure because of the Senate filibuster. And so Johnson and Thune are operating with different partisan logics in mind. Johnson can and has shown that he can just pass something on a straight party vote. Only 3 Blue Dog Democrats backed him up last night, whereas Thune needs to find 7 Democratic senators out of a Senate of 100, much smaller body. So the middle ground is quite different. I think the other thing to say is that for Speaker Johnson, the Freedom Caucus, the more kind of right-wing element in his caucus, is effectively the tail wagging the dog, because if they pick up their toys and walk away, he's going to struggle to make up those votes with other Democrats. I think he's pretty much maxed out on Democrats he can find in the House. So both men on paper are dealing with Republican majorities, but in practice they're very different types of majorities and institutional hurdles.
So given, I guess, what you just said and the fact that President Trump didn't seem to back the Senate proposal, do you see a political path forward to get a deal done anytime soon?
Well, look, basically this boils down to, are Republicans willing to make a few policy concessions on ICE in order to fund the entire Department of Homeland Security? So Democrats for months now have been talking about wanting operational changes to ICE. They want body cams. They want ICE agents not to be wearing masks. They want other forms of accountability. And they know that if they hold out on this, holding out on funding for the whole DHS is the way to do it. ICE is in a sort of peculiar situation because of Trump's Big Beautiful Bill Act last year. It actually has quite a lot of funding. It's quite flush. So what's happening is the rest of the Department of Homeland Security is where the leverage is being made here, and most visibly for everyday Americans, the Transport Security Agency, the airport security agents. So I guess the game now is, are Republicans willing to annoy Americans to have agents not paid, or are they willing to actually just make a few operational changes to the way that ICE does its business?
Yeah, although we should mention in the Senate bill, Democrats didn't even get any of those reforms that they were looking for, and in the House, Republicans didn't even want to go that far. I want to pick up on what you just said, and that's the annoyance. For many workers and travelers, the pain will continue. Who do you think voters are going to blame for this mess, do you think?
Well, as with so many aspects of American politics, people are going to view this through a partisan lens, I think. And so people who are inclined to the Democrats are going to blame the Republicans. People who are inclined to the Republicans are going to blame the Democrats. There's always the question about where independents go. And I think at the moment, independents are trending against this Republican administration. I think it's notable Donald Trump now has, I believe, his highest disapproval rating of either of his presidential terms at the moment. So I think, if I were to bet on this, and it's more of a hunch than anything else, I would guess that ultimately there will be some kind of concessions made, maybe not to the extent that Democrats want. Something maybe, let's say, on body cameras, but not on masks or something like that. And ultimately, back in November, when there was a shutdown, it was the moderate Democrats in the Senate who ended that. And so I think you just look at the types of senators who moved a few months ago. Those are the ones who I think will end up bringing this to an end.
We shall see. I appreciate your perspective as always. Richard Johnson, thank you so much.
Thank you.